Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first on getting all the insight. Okay, today's video, I would like to keep you up to date on the news that's published by the Jobs and Skills Australia, which periodically we refers back to those information and stats that the current government, the Albanese government, has set it up. I think it was back in September 2022. Whether or not it actually worked the way it's supposed to be, don't know, but it's just collecting data. But having collecting such data and set up an additional department within the government, or I mean division, or whatever it is, authority, is it really useful or effective? I'm not too sure. But anyhow, let's jump in there, as I'm not a politician, so I'd probably just leave that to the whoever the politicians to debate whether or not this authority, Jobs and Skills Australia, is actually useful. To be honest, I don't feel that it has been useful enough. As we can see, I don't know whether it actually governs the skill assessment authority, or does it provide additional information to the policy making on migration. I mean, migration or immigration or home affairs has their own division to actually provide strategic planning on that one. So I'm not too sure whether this Job and Skill Australia has actually done its work. I don't think it has. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, anyway, with the topic says Australian labour market for migrant July 2024. Well, okay, right. So this is quite a good, interesting topic. Whether or not the government's policy has actually made towards the intention of this government trying to do, so bring more jobs and make the economy better. I don't know how you feel about the economy nowadays. Probably it's not as good as it's being expected. So the news poll has been showing that the Albanese government is actually not doing well. But anyhow, I've clicked on the document there. There's actually information here. I just wanted to share with you. Now I will go through numbers of the stuff, information here first, and then I'll provide my view by the end of this video. Again, it says a labor market and migrants. I think for migrants, I think it's more a way they are trying to direct where the policy will go. But having such authority to just direct where the policy will go, it's probably a waste of taxpayers' money. I don't know how you feel about it, because certainly I don't feel that Jobs and Skills Australia has actually done enough to create changes enough. I mean, over the past 2 years there has been changes, obviously, but there has been a lot of negative changes or policies that has been affected, especially in the international education sector. But anyhow, let's have a look at this, how these stats will actually show up. So it basically since May 2023 to May 2024, the employment growth by industry, so health and care growing the most, and then the education, and then construction, and then so on and so forth, manufacturing, electricity and gas, admin, agriculture. Look at this, information media and telecommunication. I think that's the sad thing about Australia, isn't it? I mean, we're in 2024. Supposedly, if the government or the nation wanted to go techie, go modern, information media and telecommunications should really grow a lot more. But this seems to be for the future. I mean, migrants, you will really take a second thoughts about if you're in the tech field as your profession. You probably don't even come to Australia, you see. So not too sure. They need to do better for this one. Otherwise, your tech sector is just gonna go away. Okay, and all these other ones are all the existing. I mean, it's not that vital, but for a nation to grow, tech sector is always the key. But if you look at the employment growth for the tech sector there, it's zero growth. Okay, for mining, retail, and finance is actually decreasing, so that's not a good sign. Anyway, now the one I wanted to show you is this one, the migrant employment. So we can see with the green bar, it's actually the domestic people, so the locals. So the local gets the most opportunity for every state. And then the purple one is obviously the migrant, the skilled migrant there. So it's actually lower, but you can see which state has the most differences, and you can see that it's actually Tasmania. It's horrible. Look at that. So if you got a skill and you go to Tasmania, and if you're a skilled migrant, you go to Tasmania, the likelihood that you get the comparison, the versus the locals is actually very, very low, despite that all the other states is actually not that good either. But again, Tasmania is, and that's the reason I'm saying, just to understand why the state of Tasmania has actually made their state nomination criteria so complicated, despite that the stats showing the state is actually, look at this. It's just not showing much. Okay, it's not too good anyway. That's what I'm trying to say here. And then that they obviously go for the migrants' employment. But the interesting figure that I wanted to share with you is at the end of these information here. It's showing the actual, so this topic here, it talks about pathway to permanent residence, permanent skilled migrants and related labor job outcomes. So there's actually a graph showing here, but this is it's actually from what year to what year? Look at this one. This is from 2012 to 2021. So between that 10 years, that decade there, 12 to 21, what are the skilled migrants? And this bar actually shows that how many skilled migrants require to jump hoop through different visa until they get permanent residence. So this one, the first one, it shows that if they come in with their first, so the purple is actually showing their first temporary visa, so first visa coming into Australia, and the green one shows their second visa, and the navy one is actually the third visa, purple one is actually the fourth visa. So it seems to be, if you're coming to Australia with a temporary skill visa, it's likely that you have 85.8% that you're likely to, the next visa that you apply for will be a permanent resident. So that's the interesting figure that I wanted to share with you. In I think the most interesting figure showing in this report. All the other ones just not really that important there. If you come in as a student, it's more likely that you get your permanent residency after your second temporary visa, which is likely to be 485 visa there, and working holiday is the same, the second visa. So now, first of all, a lot of people ask, so what is temporary skill visa? So temporary skill visa is likely, well, the only temporary visa that could transfer you to a permanent resident obviously will be the employment sponsor visa. So I think the direction that the government is trying to paint here is that, as we know from the migration planning level, that the employment sponsor visa has been given and provided the most quota. So I think what they're trying to paint with this report is that, look, if you can find a job in Australia, that is a better way for you to actually migrate and become a permanent resident. That's what this figure is trying to demonstrate here. However, because it's going through the period of 2012 and 21, now, I don't think this will be accurate enough, because during the year of 2017 and 18 and perhaps 2019, there has been a lot of refusals on employment sponsor visa. Why? Because there has been a change from 457 to 482. A lot of people has been refused, appealed, and waited for 5-7 years until today. A lot of people still didn't get the visa. So that is something that they have a void to be said, because I believe this figure only shows that visa has been granted. Now, those visa has not been granted is not put in here. So again, is this accurate? Well, to be a way, but conditionally accurate, but it's not the totality. However, it does bring us a direction where the government of Australia want the future of the skilled migrant wanted to move towards. Obviously, they want them to find a job, get an employment sponsor, because the way that you get permanent residency is much higher rate. And if you look at the time required is 2 years and 9 months, that's pretty quick. But obviously that is not the current situation at this point in time. However, it does provide us as a reference, so you can see if you come in as a student and you migrate, you may take about 4 years plus. If you come in straight away as a temporary skill, that means that you being employment sponsor, about two years and plus. So that's where the stats actually tell us whether or not the future the policy will actually match this one. I don't think so, but it does provide a guidance for a lot of people who wanted to migrate to Australia with something that you can reference with. Anyhow, should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.